established a clear set of goals, and foremost among them was the development and creation of a national private sector-led campaign to promote awareness of the multiple pathways to obtain a good job in this country. So, so important, maybe now more important than ever in the wake of COVID-19. The challenge is that too often companies, workers, parents, and policymakers assume that a university degree is the only path to a good paying job. Employers and job seekers lack sufficient awareness of the multiple career pathways and skill development opportunities available outside of traditional four-year degrees. While it's true that on average, a college graduate has higher earnings than a high school graduate, this is an overgeneralization that ignores a lot of really critical and important factors. High school graduates, in fact, with above average earnings outperform college graduates with below average earnings. And there's justifiable frustration from lower earning college graduates struggling to translate their degrees into an actual job while being saddled with an unsustainable amount of student debt. We should encourage a college education, of course, and we do celebrate it. We have the greatest college ecosystem of any country in the world, but we have to stop telling students and workers that this is the only viable option. For too long, this country has adopted a one-size-fits-all approach to preparing Americans for the future. Go to college, get a degree, work for a single employer, and retire. There's an overwhelming evidence that really shows that this is failing too many students who aren't going down this pipeline. First, as an example, 2/3 of Americans do not have a college degree. And for those who do enter college, the graduation rates are not nearly where they should be, hovering at around 60% for a bachelor's degree. For those who fail to finish earning their degrees or complete a college program that doesn't result in a job, their student loan debt can be a burden for many, many years. Companies recognize that the best people for the job are those with the skills they need to fill the job vacancies. And that's what they should be prioritizing as opposed to where they learned it. In fact, last month, under the president's leadership, and Ginny Rometty, who's here with us today, joined us at the council meeting, the federal government led by example and is completely rethinking the way we are going to recruit, transitioning to skills-based hiring to find the best talent in America and create a more inclusive and diverse US government workforce. By prioritizing multiple pathways focused on acquiring in-demand skills and facilitating hiring decisions based on those skills, we will expand career paths available to students and job seekers. Increasingly, the availability of multiple pathways will also benefit mid to late career workers, especially those looking to upskill and transition into growing industries. As many on this call know, today's factory floors look very different than those of decades ago. They're state-of-the-art tech centers and require very specific skills. Ultimately, we need to reform education in this country, and a lot of it starts with how we talk about it. So today, I am excited to be joined by some of our country's most innovative employers who are leading the effort, as well as hear directly from students and workers who can best share their stories. The Trump administration continues to put Americans first in everything we do. We didn't just arrive at the table during a global pandemic to talk about the importance of ensuring that we are making all options to a great life and securing the skills to have a career available to the public. This is something the president has been talking about since the very beginning of the administration. We've called on the private sector to share the responsibility by changing their hiring practices, to put more money behind awareness campaigns and ensure Americans know how to obtain these opportunities. Americans everywhere, especially those mid-to-career workers, are looking at different industries for the first time, and it's the best time to do it. Obviously, prior to COVID, there was a wave of automation that was creating tremendous anxiety and disruption across so many different industries. Now, as a result of COVID, people need to, unfortunately, in some cases, learn a completely new skill, but that is also an opportunity to be put on a new trajectory for themselves and their lives. And we want to facilitate that connection back to the workforce and make it as smooth as possible. I'd like to turn it over at this point prior to showcasing the campaign to a good friend of mine and who's been just a tremendous champion of really rethinking career and technical education in this country and around the globe, the executive chairman of IBM, Ginny Rometty, who will introduce Tony, who joins her here today and who's gone through one of IBM's just terrific programs. So Ginny, with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Ivanka, thank you. And I know everyone on the team wants to thank you for what has been just tireless leadership for years on this topic. And you, Tim, and myself, we all share this passion for expanding economic opportunity for all Americans. And that is what's at the heart of this campaign, which its tagline is try something new. And IBM, Apple, and a number of what are the business roundtable companies, we've all worked closely together to create this campaign with the Ad Council. And then IBM also had the opportunity, we built the website, so there's a landing spot for everyone after you get excited about this on how to connect to these jobs. So let me start with why we are so proud to play a critical role in this. And it's for two reasons that Ivanka mentioned. One is that this idea that we could create awareness for new pathways for in-demand jobs. New pathways means apprenticeship, certificates, and in-demand jobs, there are jobs, cyber specialists, welders, and everything in between. And then the second reason is it encourages all companies to adopt and embrace a skills-first hiring paradigm. And that means don't look just at a degree, but look at the skills someone has and let them get started. And as you mentioned, it's so important because many of these in-demand jobs you can start and even do without a four-year degree. Now, it's really important now because we're at this moment of growing inequality. And it is this confluence of two factors. You know, the digital transformation was already driving everyone in many jobs to reskill because technology was at the center of their job. But then now COVID came and we've got unemployment, and particularly it's in the minorities or low income with women. So we hope our campaign reaches people entering the workforce as well as changing a career, or if for some reason you've been displaced or underemployed even. So I want to wrap my comments by sharing IBM's own experience, because I really think it's evidence that this campaign, it's the promise of this campaign here. So our work started years ago because it was an effort to make the digital era inclusive. And we knew to do that, it would mean you'd have to open up opportunity for many new underserved groups and communities out there, offer them new pathways to get the skill, and then adopt this skills-first hiring approach. Now, we wanted to give it a positive name. So in our case, we called these new collar jobs, meaning not blue, not white, nothing negative, a positive thing. And just quickly, the results of two of our big programs. One was called PTECH, Pathway to Technology, Early College High School. It started in Brooklyn in 2012. Think of working with high schools in their nearby community college, mentoring, internships. In 6 years, a student gets their high school degree and an associate degree at no cost. It's grown rapidly, 220 schools, 150,000 students moving through, all from underserved communities. And the graduates now, often the first in their family to graduate, are doing jobs like software development, cybersecurity, cloud. And by the way, 75%, what we didn't expect, went back to get their college degrees while they worked. Now, if you want an inclusive workplace, though, as Ivanka said, it's not just students, it's reskilling mid-career people. And therefore, we started a 21st century apprenticeship program. So you could earn while you learn. And it started with 3 tracks, went to 8. We included blockchain, cloud engineering, 16 states in the US, 500 hires a year last year and growing. So it's evidence that new pathways, along with skills-first hiring, it's good for business, it's good for the community. And it was 15% of our hiring last year was new collar. So let me now give you a chance, though, to hear from one of our new collar IBMers, Tony Bird. I am very proud of him as an IBM software engineer, but that's not where his story started. He started as a barista in a coffee shop. So Tony, let me turn over to you now to tell your story.
Thanks, Jenny. So for me, when I graduated high school, kind of wanted to take a break a little bit, and then so I started working pretty recently after I got out of high school at a coffee shop. and ironically, it was at an IBM location. And so when I first started working there, I was just, having fun interacting with the customers, being a barista, and over time, I had kids, and kind of, wanted to make it different. So I started kind of looking at different things where I can make a change, maybe go back to school or something. So I kind of started looking into community colleges, and I tried the community college role, but working, having a family, and trying to go to school, it's a lot. It's a lot to juggle. So around that same time, I kind of working, at IBM, hearing customers talk. I learned about the apprenticeship, and this was right around the time that the first wave was coming into Raleigh, North Carolina. And so I kind of started. I met the guy David Green through the coffee shop. I had been there 7 years, and me and him, we just became good friends. And when I let everybody know I wanted to make this change and kind of try to take this leap into like learning about technology and maybe joining the apprenticeship, he kind of took it on his own to become my mentorship. It's key to have somebody like that and have a mentorship, because making that big of a jump is definitely going to be blockers, and you need somebody that can help you kind of get through. So he kind of took on his own to kind of guide me and help me learn different coding languages, skills for like a software engineer, JavaScript, Node.js. Kind of showed me how to work with GitHub and things like that before getting into the apprenticeship. So that kind of helped me boost up my skills a lot. So so I joined the apprenticeship, and it was great. As Jenny said, you get to learn while you earn. And then the thing I love about the apprenticeship is it's hands-on training. It's things that you're going to be working on, the tools that IBM uses. It's the things that we would learn every day. So once I transitioned into my job role, it was an easy transition. I knew everybody there, so I didn't have to meet new people, and kind of everybody was happy. The support was pouring in for me. My mentor, he is still here today. Probably watching this live stream right now. But it's key to have that mentor. It definitely helped me a lot. And the biggest thing is about like being a software engineer. Things I take from it is things that he taught me. It's kind of like how to find out, how to research, find any problem. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, do your research and see if it's already out there. The information is there. And another thing is communication, because a lot of people have a lot of great ideas, but if you can't communicate that idea, then it's kind of like dead on arrival, so to say. But I would definitely encourage anybody, of course, if you want to take the college path, there's, like Ivanka said, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's definitely other pathways for people that maybe, can't take the college path as myself. The apprenticeship was a blessing in disguise, and it just, came at the right time, and it was a big relief, and it continues to be a relief, and it's opened up a lot of doors for me. I continue to learn and grow and try to build my skills as a software engineer. And, I just want to, say thank IBM for giving me that opportunity.
Thank you so much, Tony. Your story is inspiring everyone for sure on this call, and hopefully will inspire many others to explore, as you said, opportunities that are available that maybe, I guess, for 7 years you hadn't really contemplated until
Right.
somebody gave you a nudge in that direction. So your story is awesome, and we really appreciate your being with us today to highlight it. Ginny had mentioned the PTech program, which is tremendous, and really great work with that program, Ginny. I've been to multiple PTech facilities in high school campuses across the country, and you're doing a really great job with the vocational training at those programs. So excellent work on that front, and thank you for everything you've done to advance this campaign and the development of the website. So with that, I'd love to turn it over to Tim Cook, the CEO of one of the world's most innovative companies, Apple, who is here today with a lady who works with him who's very impressive, having heard her story, named Hannah. So I'll turn it over to Tim to say some opening remarks and then introduce Hannah.
Thank you, Ivanka, and thanks also to you and Jenny for your leadership and all those who have contributed your time and ideas to this important work. This work has taken on new urgency in light of the COVID-19 pandemic and a renewed focus on opportunity, equality, and racial justice. People have always been at the heart of this campaign, and our response to these challenges demands that we work together. To create lasting and meaningful change, we have to ensure every American can access the tools and training they need to find a well-paying job and build a successful, lasting career. That mission has never been more urgent than now for the millions whose jobs have been impacted by this pandemic. This work is also about challenging the idea that a traditional four-year college education is the only avenue to a successful and stable career. There are many paths to learning a new trade or skill set. Helping people find those paths has always been at the heart of our work here, so we don't leave promising opportunities on the table. There have never been more options to help people learn new skills and pursue something they're passionate about, and we are proud that technology has been a great driver of that. These opportunities range from apprenticeships and online learning to professional training certification programs and other innovative training models. This campaign identifies many of these options, and our website is packed with helpful tools and resources for anyone looking to get started. By bringing these opportunities to a broader audience, we can energize the vast constellation of high-quality education and training providers across the U.S. to invest more in the rigor and focus of the programs and to continue empowering people from all walks of life. Achieving that takes the commitment of a broad range of stakeholders, from business to labor, from education to government. At the end of the day, we believe that with the right tools, people have the power to change their lives and the lives of their families for the better. Our campaign celebrates that idea. It would help us fight inequality of opportunity, invest in our economy and the education system, and empower more people to discover a path that leads to a productive, personally fulfilling career. At Apple, we are grateful to be a part of this effort. Now I'm pleased to introduce Hannah Sheelahal. Hannah is the founder of ASL Interactive and a full-time lecturer of American Sign Language at Arizona State University. Hannah is deeply passionate about teaching sign language, but she realized there was an opportunity to reach more students and to further her career by exploring opportunities in app development and design. Working part-time, she enrolled in Mesa Community College to learn to code. She earned a certificate in Swift and joined with fellow students to create Rise, an app connecting members of the community to resources to access food, shelter, and healthcare services. More recently, Hannah has published her own ASL dictionary app in the App Store. Hannah now runs her own digital business, bringing American Sign Language to a broader audience, and we're so proud to have her part of the Apple developer community. Hannah, we'd love to hear more about your story. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. I'm so flattered and honored to be here today to tell a little bit more about my story. So I started off teaching just part-time adjunct in the community college district here in Arizona. And I set a goal to get a full-time job. And I knew that in order to do that, because for sign language, there are not a lot of jobs, it's very competitive. I knew that I needed to do something to set myself apart from other people. And so I started looking at teaching online classes. I worked very closely with residential faculty at Mesa Community College, Michelle Bartow. She was a huge mentor for me. As the previous speaker mentioned how important mentorship is. It was definitely instrumental in my success of making that transition from face-to-face teaching to online teaching. And then over the course of time, I realized that it would be easier for me and my students if I could house all of my materials in one place, which is when I developed aslinteractive.com, which hosts things for students and also for interpreters, resources, educational materials. And then I started noticing that students were really working on their handheld devices more than anything, you know, more than laptops or any other device. I saw the students on their phones. And so my husband works at Mesa Community College, and he said, hey, they have a new program that they just started with Apple coding to build an app. And I thought, this is perfect. So I took the 3-course series for the Apple Swift program. And in the course of doing the certificate, I was invited by some of my fellow students and instructor and faculty at Mesa to participate in developing the RISE app, which is Resources, Information, and Services for Everyone. And that app is actually, the idea behind it is that there are a lot of obstacles to getting an education. A lot of students are going hungry, or they don't have some place to go if they need to. So the app is to help them find those resources, to find shelters, to find medical help, things that are could be an impediment to them finishing their education. So then a full-time job came open at Arizona State University, and I applied for the job, and I got an interview, and I ended up getting the job. And I was told after the interview that the reason that I got the job was not my formal education, of course that plays a role, but was actually my non-traditional education, my technical skills, my ability to teach online, my coding skills. Were the thing that set me apart from other people, and I have no doubt that is the reason why I got the job. They were very explicit with me about that when they offered me the job. So my non-traditional skills were definitely the thing that ended up helping me make that leap to achieving my goal, which I've been working on for a long time, of gaining full-time employment at a very prestigious university. And now that I've had these wonderful opportunities and I'm in a position to pay it forward, I really try to make an effort to always be speaking to my students about things that they can do in addition to their traditional education to set themselves apart. There are so many people that are able to get a traditional education, but they don't take the next step of filling in the skill set, you know. So when you leave with a traditional education, sometimes the job actually requires skills that don't come with the traditional education. So I always talk to my students about how they can fill that gap and things that might be things that they wouldn't normally think about, and help them to make those small leaps, but the things that make a difference in actually getting a job at the end of the journey. And I also think that the education is so important because it does create equity where equity sometimes doesn't exist, especially at times like right now where the movement like Black Lives Matter and the LGBTQ movement, and there are others, of course, but people are looking for a way to close that gap. And I think that these non-traditional types of education are sometimes the only way to make that leap. And so I really try to focus on helping my students to find those gaps and find ways to fill them. And that's my way of paying it forward.
Thank you so much, Hannah. It's an incredible story, and I think that's true for many people who visit the new website, that there are opportunities for growth regardless of where they are in their career, and whether they have a job that they love, and simply want to enhance that which they know through one of these pathways. So thank you for sharing that perspective, and Tim, thank you for the great work that you're doing through this initiative, through the work of the council, and we appreciate the partnership and collaboration. I'd like now to introduce a gentleman named Chad Robinson, who I have had the good fortune of meeting twice, most recently at the Siemens Energy Hub in Charlotte, North Carolina, as part of the White House's Pledge to America's Workers. Over 400 private sector employers committed to upskilling, education, and reskilling of more than 16 million American workers. And Chad's experience is the fulfillment of one of those pledges and opportunities. So I was blown away by Chad when I met him on the factory floor, and I really wanted him to share his story now for the benefit of everyone on this conference. Hi, Chad.
Hey, how's it going, Ivanka? Thank you, Ivanka, so much, and it's great to see you again. And thanks to all the members of the American Workforce Policy Advisory Board and its administration for all the work you've done to help connect students like myself, with the companies like Siemens, to provide skill-based apprenticeships that lead to in-demand careers. It's been an amazing opportunity. It's one that I never thought was even possible growing up. As a high school student, I always planned on attending a 4-year degree program directly out of high school because I was taught a bachelor's degree right after you graduate your high school is the only path to success. But one day, my career development counselor suggested that I look into an apprenticeship program at Siemens. He spoke extremely highly of the program, and he thought it's something that I could really excel at. And so I looked into the program, but it wasn't until I spoke to friends that were already in college or recently graduated that I realized what a unique opportunity this apprenticeship program presented. They were baffled by the sheer thought that I'd be able to work for a company like Siemens, gain hands-on work experience, learn a trade, and graduate 100% debt-free. After I considered all these factors, I decided to go for it. I began my 4-year apprenticeship in 2015 through the Siemens Apprenticeship Program at their Charlotte Energy Hub, facility where I helped build the world's most efficient and flexible power generation equipment. And not only was I able to receive that hands-on skills-based training from Siemens mentors that was geared towards preparing me for success in today's highly technical manufacturing field, I also formed lasting relationships and was able to build my professional network. There have also been numerous opportunities that I've only had as a result of starting my career at Siemens. An excellent example is being selected to speak here in front of all of you today, which is a complete honor to do so. I also had the opportunity to work and study in Germany in 2018, and then was selected to participate in the Congress Bundestag Youth Exchange, where I lived in Germany for an entire year as a citizen ambassador. And I also was able to work for Siemens in Nuremberg while there. And because of all the time I've been able to spend in Germany now, I've actually picked up a little bit of German. So, yes, ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. And still have a long way to go, definitely a lot more to learn, but every day gets a little better. And then in 2019, I graduated from the apprenticeship program with 2 associate's degrees in computer integrated machining and business administration management, along with the journeyman certificate. And that journeyman certificate is extremely valuable in the manufacturing world. Today, I'm currently working as a manufacturing engineer at Siemens Energy at the Charlotte Energy Hub, while also attending classes at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, pursuing a double major in international business and German. All of these experiences have helped me build a strong foundation for which I can build my career and help me rise higher than I have ever dreamed. And every student deserves opportunities like this. We need more companies like Siemens, like IBM, like Apple that give the opportunity to succeed in their careers. More companies need to invest in their workforce because that's their livelihood. And that's why the work of this advisory board is so crucial. So thank you, and thank everybody for all the work you guys have done.
Thank you so much, Chad. We appreciate your remarks, and it's an extraordinary experience. Do you have any words of advice for somebody who may be watching and saying, could I do what Chad did?
I think always keep your options open. Always look for different pathways. And just because someone says you can't do something or someone says that's not the typical route, that shouldn't stop you. It's always good to try out routes, and even if it doesn't work, that's great. Now you found out that doesn't work, so you can try the next thing. So I think just always try different pathways and keep your mind open.
It's great advice. Thank you so much, Chad. Hopefully I'll get to see you once again back in Siemens or elsewhere, maybe Germany.
You're welcome to.
And now I'd love to hear from our final speaker before we unveil the ad campaign, Tiffany Anderson, who is featured in today's advertisement. Tiffany, would you like to share your story to those that are listening?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I got pregnant at a young age, and I was placed in a self-paced school so I could graduate early. I ended up graduating about a year and a half early, and I had absolutely no plan for my life after that. I was working at Subway, but I quickly discovered that customer service is not my dream industry, and I lasted for about 2 weeks. Um, so one day, one of my friends who was going to school to be a paramedic told me about phlebotomy, and I was like, that's a big word. What do they do? So when she told me they draw blood, I was like, okay, and I started looking into it. And one of the selling points for me was that it wasn't a dead end job. It could be used as a credit if I wanted to pursue nursing or ultrasound tech later. Um, so it actually opened up a lot of other pathways. And it also meant that I could have a good job with a livable wage while continuing further schooling. Um, the class was about 2 weeks with an internship afterwards, and we practiced on a dummy first. The first person I ever drew blood on was my classmates. So once we conquered that, we moved on to our internship, and once the course was completed, we were offered the option to become double certified, which basically just means if you take an extra test, your pay raises automatically. So as a young mom who was about to move out, I jumped on that. And I got my first job a couple months after completing the course. This company called Hooper Holmes so graciously gave me a chance at being a contracted mobile phlebotomist, starting out at 18 an hour. And this wasn't a part-time or a full-time job. This was as needed or PRN. They taught me how to do vitals, which opened up a whole bunch of other doors. And because the job was so flexible, I was able to get another part-time job as a mobile phlebotomist working nights. So I was able to be home during the day to care for my daughter. And that led me to the Blood and Tissue Center, who totally retrains you, no matter what training you have. So they taught me how to handle reactions such as seizures, vomiting, fainting, all that good stuff. And from there, I moved on to exam one as a part-time mobile phlebotomist, making up to 25 an hour or per job, which is like up to $40 per job, taking about an hour. And that job in particular had great flexibility. They taught me how to do centrifuging, EKGs, and with all the previous experience I had acquired throughout all my, past work, it became super easy to find jobs. I was still contracted through Hooper Holmes and several other companies while being part-time at exam one. And if I ever needed a day off, I could just refuse the job offered or block out my schedule. So I basically worked whenever I wanted to. And at one point, I was not looking for any more jobs. I had a million. And I was still receiving calls with potential job opportunities. And I can't even tell you how many companies I had to turn down. I honestly can't imagine a better career for me as a mom of three than this one.
That is amazing, Tiffany. And I'm sure a lot of people listening are very intrigued by the choice that you made and interested in exploring it. So really with that, I'm just want to thank you and Chad and Hannah and Tony and of course Ginny and Tim who have worked so hard on this campaign. We're now going to unveil the Find Something New advertising campaign. This is a national ad campaign that seeks to raise awareness, as you all did today, about the multiple pathways that exist in America for students and workers across the nation of all backgrounds, of all ages. It directs audiences to the findsomethingnew.org website, and this is such an important resource. And I encourage everyone on the line today and afterwards to share with their friends findsomethingnew.org, which is a website that provides resources to help students and adults across the U.S. identify and pursue the right paths for their careers. It also offers incredible interactive tools that recommends education pathways for each of the users, including personal aptitude and assessment tests, information about rising career opportunities and in-demand careers for people to consider, and very importantly, as we heard today, a directory of resources for life services like childcare and food assistance and internet access. So people, as they're exploring what pathways are right for them, can have the support they need as they embark on a journey and start on their vocational education pathway. The ad campaign features real stories like yours, Tiffany's, that really show individuals who have found careers after embracing these new forms of learning. As we've all mentioned, this has never been more important than today, and we are excited for the timing of the launch, and we hope that it enables so many people out there to really embark on a new journey and realize their full potential. So with that, let's take a look.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job.
I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing.
After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working.
I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep
You
going.
just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.
That's really amazing, and I think really compelling. And the call to action is the most important component, which is going to findsomethingnew.org and exploring the in-demand jobs that are available today that are hiring, and the programs that can enable you to secure the skills to fill them. So thank you, everyone who's on this call. A special thank you to the Ad Council for their tremendous partnership with the White House through this effort, and partnering with the private sector. Dozens and dozens of firms and individuals contributed to the making of this campaign and the building out of the website. So visit findsomethingnew.org and help get the word out to every American. Thank you all for the time.